A new day begins across the African savanna as a honey badger emerges from its burrow with one goal in mind: to find food. It moves cautiously across the dusty ground, following every faint scent and searching for fresh tracks. The morning is already warm, but the honey badger wastes no time. Every smell could lead to its next meal. Before long, its first target appears, a small rodent hiding among the dry grass. The honey badger lowers its body and slowly creeps forward, carefully closing the distance. Its powerful claws are ready to strike. But just before it can reach the rodent, the tiny animal disappears into its burrow. The honey badger immediately begins digging. It tears through the dry soil with remarkable determination, searching for the hidden prey. But the rodent has already escaped through an underground tunnel. After several moments of digging, the honey badger realizes that its first hunt has ended in failure. Still, it refuses to give up. Not far away, it discovers a ground-nesting bird. The honey badger presses its body close to the earth and begins another careful approach. Every movement is slow and deliberate. Whenever the bird becomes alert, the honey badger suddenly lunges forward, but each attempt misses. When it finally reaches the nest, there is nothing there. Another opportunity has disappeared. The honey badger continues its journey, following the rocky terrain toward a nearby outcrop. There, hidden among the rocks, it encounters something far more challenging: a large python. For a moment, the honey badger studies the snake. But this python is simply too large and powerful to overpower easily. Then, without warning, the python begins moving. It glides rapidly across the rocks and slips into a narrow crevice. The honey badger follows, trying to find a way inside, but the snake disappears deep among the rocks. Once again, the hunt is over. The honey badger stands alone, frustrated but unwilling to surrender. Soon afterward, another opportunity appears. Among the scattered boulders, a rock monitor lizard catches its attention. The honey badger lowers itself and stalks closer, hoping this hunt will finally succeed. But the lizard spots the predator. In an instant, it runs. A frantic chase begins across the rocky ground. The honey badger follows closely, but the monitor lizard knows the terrain better. It reaches a narrow crack between the rocks and disappears inside. The honey badger waits, searches, and investigates the opening. There is no way to reach it. Another hunt has failed. By now, the effects of hunger are becoming obvious. The honey badger is tired, but it continues searching. It digs into the ground, hoping to uncover insects beneath the surface. Nothing. It moves from one termite mound to another, searching for anything edible. Eventually, it finds only a few remaining termites, not nearly enough to satisfy its hunger. The heat of the day grows stronger. Exhausted, the honey badger finally moves beneath the shade of a lone acacia tree and lowers its head close to the ground. For a moment, it simply rests. But the day is far from over. In the distance, something catches its attention. A pangolin is feeding peacefully near a termite mound. For the hungry honey badger, this could be the opportunity it has been waiting for. Learning from its earlier mistakes, it approaches slowly from behind. It keeps its body pressed against the ground, moving only when the pangolin is distracted. Step by step, the honey badger gets closer. This time, everything seems perfect. Then it suddenly charges. But the pangolin reacts instantly. It curls its body into a tight, armored ball. The honey badger bites, scratches, pushes, and tries repeatedly to turn it over. But the pangolin's overlapping scales form an extraordinary natural defense. No matter how hard the honey badger tries, it cannot find a weakness. Another promising hunt has become another failure. And now, the hunger is becoming impossible to ignore. Hungry and exhausted, the honey badger leaves the pangolin behind and continues searching across the savanna. There is still time before sunset. Perhaps the next opportunity will finally bring success. Not long afterward, an African crested porcupine appears. The honey badger approaches carefully. This time, instead of waiting for the perfect moment to surprise its target, it decides to confront the porcupine directly. It slowly closes the distance. Then, without warning, it lunges. But the porcupine is ready. Its sharp quills become an immediate defense. The attack ends badly, with several quills embedded in the honey badger's muzzle and front legs. The honey badger quickly retreats. Painfully, it pulls away from the porcupine and leaves the area. Another hunt has failed. Another chance at food is gone. As afternoon begins to fade, the honey badger continues its search. Then, beneath an acacia tree, it notices an African tree squirrel. For a hungry predator, the small animal could be an easy meal. The honey badger lowers its body and quietly stalks closer. This time, it gets much nearer before making its move. Suddenly, it rushes forward. But the squirrel reacts immediately. It races up the tree trunk and disappears into the high branches, far beyond the reach of the determined predator below. The honey badger looks upward, but there is nothing it can do. Yet again, the hunt has ended without food. The sun begins moving lower across the horizon. The honey badger has spent the entire day searching, chasing, digging, attacking, and following every possible opportunity. But nothing has worked. Then, just when it seems there is almost no hope left, a new scent reaches the honey badger. The smell of a fresh carcass is carried across the savanna by the wind. The honey badger immediately follows it. Step by step, it tracks the scent until it reaches the body of a dead antelope. For the first time all day, it appears that luck may finally be on its side. But there is one problem. The carcass is already surrounded by a clan of spotted hyenas. The honey badger stops and watches. The hyenas are powerful scavengers, and there are simply too many of them. Still, the honey badger cautiously steps forward, testing the situation. The hyenas remain close to the carcass. The honey badger considers its options, but the risk is too great. After an entire day of failed hunts, it now faces one final decision. Fight a group of dangerous hyenas for a meal, or walk away and survive another day. Eventually, survival wins. The honey badger slowly backs away from the carcass and disappears into the fading light. As the golden sunset spreads across the savanna, the exhausted animal begins its journey back toward its familiar burrow. No successful hunt, no large meal, not even enough food to satisfy its hunger. After an entire day of searching, every opportunity has slipped away. The rodent escaped underground. The nesting bird disappeared. The python vanished into the rock. The monitor lizard escaped through a narrow crack. The termite mounds offered almost nothing. The pangolin's armor proved impossible to defeat. The porcupine fought back with painful quills. The squirrel disappeared into the trees. And finally, the antelope carcass was protected by a clan of spotted hyenas. For this honey badger, it has been a day of almost complete failure. But failure in the wild does not always mean defeat. The honey badger is one of Africa's toughest survivors. It may go hungry today, but it will not stop searching tomorrow. As darkness settles over the savanna, the honey badger disappears into its burrow. The long day is finally over. Tomorrow the search begins again. And perhaps, next time, just one opportunity will be enough.